A movie about high school students that are troubled, a backbeat to the song, and a moment that teenagers became, a profitable market. This is Rock Around the Clock. I'm Matt Hasquin, and I'm a high school history teacher, and I'm taking you line by line through Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire from 1989. We've made our way to, Rock Around the Clock. Now, I want to go ahead and get you started on the story here. So it all starts in 1954. Bill Haley and his Comets cut a fast 12-bar blues tune called Rock Around the Clock. And it's one that didn't explode right away, and the label, Decca, even tucked it on the B side of another single. But a year later, something strange happened. So the film, Blackboard Jungle, was a drama about these troubled youth, and they used the song over the opening credits. And teenagers who saw the movie heard that rhythm, in a dark theater, and they treated it just like, a signal flare. Radio stations started spinning the records. The record itself is reissued, and by the summer of 1955, it sat at #1 on Billboard's pop chart for 8 weeks. So what made the song feel new a year later? Well, there was a particular list of ingredients, right place, right time kind of stuff. So like the rhythm of the song, it just like kind of pounds away at this shuffle groove that makes your foot move without even asking. There's the upright slap bass that pops up, and it's just very forceful. And then the saxophone in the song just barrels through the middle. And then the guitar break, the electric guitar, was tracked by Danny Cedrone. And it is just, it coiled a run that young people tried to memorize, note for note. Many took up the guitar to play it. Cedrone never saw the song take off. He wasn't part of Bill Haley and his Comets. He was just a session player. But he died weeks after the session to record it, which kind of deepened the legend behind the song, like there was a darkness or a broodiness to it, right? Culturally, the single kind of sits at a crossroads. Bill Haley came out of the country and western swing genre, and the beat and the feel of the song trace all the way back to black rhythm and blues. And that blend is how early rock and roll will spread. It crossed regional lines, it jumped the color line on AM radio, and it turned local dance music into kind of like national pop. The sound felt kind of rebellious, and not because the lyrics of the song preached any kind of rebellion. It was because the rhythm insisted on like movement and volume and youth. Well, adults noticed, and theater owners, reported kids dancing in the aisles, sometimes tearing up the seats. Newspapers tried to, they tried to tie the song to worries and concerns about juvenile delinquency. In churches, pastors would scold. At home, parents would complain. But you know what? Teenagers just kept buying the record. You could almost see an industry where it realizes in real time that youth culture is not a fad. It's a business plan. And there's also a media lesson here too. I mean, there's this one placement in Blackboard Jungle kind of cracked open the door, and then radio play just blows it wide open. Television kept it alive, from those early rock and roll showcases in the 1950s to the 1970s, when Happy Days used the song as its theme, and it introduced a new generation to the sound that had, riled up their parents. And this is the pipeline we still live with, right? A song connects to a screen, which connects to an audience, which creates a market. And so, was it the first rock and roll record? Historians will probably argue about that, and they rightfully should. But pioneers from rhythm and blues and country and gospel laid the foundation, laid the tracks long before 1954. But if you're drawing a map of when rock became the center of American culture, Rock Around the Clock is just, a pretty clean landmark. So how do we tie the song back to Billy Joel's song, right? So Billy Joel drops the title to capture kind of an inflection point, in a song crowded with, geopolitics and, people of giant personality. This line marks kind of the birth of mainstream rock. The moment of a backbeat just kind of left the margins, right? And then just eventually walks into every living room. Why does it matter? Well, this record shows how technology and media and markets can turn a regional sound into a national identity. It also reminds us that American music is this braiding of traditions, country, rhythm and blues, R&B, pop, and it's all woven by players and producers who work across lines of region and race. So, after we've been through this particular line, well, it's about time we move on to the beginning of the next line in the song, and that'll take us to Einstein. If you're getting something out of this series, please give me a follow, a like, or even a share if you think other folks would enjoy what we're talking about here with We Didn't Start the Fire. Thank you for your time.